Hey guys, Dario here with Optional Enterprises, and this week the watch list is going to be a little shorter, and I'm not talking about shorter in length or amount of securities. I'm just talking about the explanations because this week we're expecting a lot of consolidation and corrections in the market. So a lot of the short positions that I alerted last week are going to be the main focus this week. Since the market does decide to be short this week, I would expect some pullbacks for those securities that I've already alerted. So we'll quickly go over them, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to briefly describe them. First off, though, we're going to go with some of the quick plays, some of the low hanging fruit. So right now we're looking at ticker symbol SH, and this is the ProShares Trust Short S&P 500 ETF. And all that is it's an inverse ETF of the S&P 500. So essentially, it moves in the opposite direction by the same percentage that the S&P 500 would move. So if the S&P 500 moves up a percent, this thing will follow, but in the inverse direction, going down. So I've overlaid the S&P 500 to kind of give you a visual representation, and you can see that it does a pretty good job of tracking this index. So when this S&P 500, which is the purple here, starts to break some key resistance levels, you can look, see if the S&P decides to break these 2 days here. That might be a good time for this to maybe think about going a long position. I mean, even if Monday it starts to sell off and it gets some volume behind it, some strength, you could even go long on Monday. Why is this important to us? Well, if you're just looking for a quick play, something that is easy to get in and easy to get out, these options are not that expensive. Uh, and they're a little bit safer if you can't really watch your position. Where I show how to day trade the SPY, going short on the SPY would yield you probably the same return as far as cost of options. This is a little less expensive than the SPY to hold. You're looking at 5 cents. Oh, well, this is not even the right ticker symbol. Hold on here. All right, so SH, there we go. So the theta, that's much better actually there. So this costs you less than a cent to hold, right? Not a whole lot of open interest. You will definitely want to go out a few days. You can see we got some open interest out here. A lot of people expecting some moves up. You can see that people are taking away from the short side, and we've got some adders up here on the long. So the 26s, we're at 25.97. If this thing does in fact decide to rally on Monday, which would mean that the S&P 500 is starting to sell off, you could essentially get into this thing for around 13 cents, 12 cents, and if you can get the same rally out of this that we got, if this thing comes back up to say just 26, comes back up to this resistance 26.08, that's about 10 cents. 10 cents on a 47-cent delta is 10% or 4 cents. So it'd be a quick $40 on $1,000. Not great money, but the idea with this one is that if the S&P 500 does decide to continue to sell, a good little pullback here, a nice minor correction, maybe down to this area here, which is a pretty strong strong support area. Um, let's look at that here for just a brief minute here. So we're at around 1313. So that'd be about a 2% change, right? In this in the S&P 500. So that'd be about a 2% correction, which is, not not uncanny. It's definitely something that is possible. So if we go from the 25.96 using the S&P's 500's possible correction, and we go up, say 2%, we're looking at around 26.49, which is about a 50-cent move. Now this 2% correction will happen rather slow, so you might be holding this for 2 or 3 days. That's something to keep in mind with this, but you're still looking around 50 cents, right? So 50 cents on a 50-cent delta, that's $250 on a $1,000 position. And that's 10 contracts. So that's something just to keep an eye out for. Also, if you are a volatility player and you like the VIX, obviously the VIX is always a play. This week, we can see that VIX is coming to a pretty strong support area here. So that might be something to watch. I personally am a fan of UVXY because this one gets some pretty great moves, and this would be another long position. Should the market decide to sell off, volatility is going to rise, and the UVXY tracks the VIX exactly. And you can see, a 2.61% move in the VIX. It tracks about half of the moves of the VIX. So the VIX moves 4, UVXY is going to move 2. So you can kind of gauge that based on the S&P 500's moves. So if you look at the S&P 500, gauge that percentage move to the VIX's moves, and translate over that to the UVXY. UVXY, you can expect some pretty drastic moves, especially when it decides to start selling. Each one of these represents a moment in the market that it's sold, and you can see how fast they move. 36 to 47. There's a $10 move in 4 days, right? Right here we've got 31, 47. There's a $16 move in a week. Now a $16 move, I don't have to tell you, that starts turning options into 100, 200, 300% winners. Now the cost to hold UVXY is a little more expensive. So you definitely want to be right with your timing. You can see we get about 7 cents on the 5 days. I would never recommend playing something that close. With UVXY, it's always better to go out, give yourself some time. 20 days, these moves do happen rather quickly, but just in case you're wrong, you want to have some time to adjust those positions. So those are just some low-hanging fruit trades. Keep in mind, a lot of people are aware of this though, so you want to be right with your timing, and you want to be I don't think frugal is the right word, but you want to be quick to take your profits when you see them. Get out once you're up, because as you can see, this thing can kind of shake around pretty easily. So yeah, SH calls, UVXY calls. If you like SVXY, I'm not a huge fan of this one because it just doesn't move a lot, but this one might be a good situation for some puts. Those are just some low-hanging fruit trades. So yeah, that's it for those. We're going to move on to the watch list, and we're not going to touch on a few of them. Neo, I think that one is played out. So we're going to leave that one on. This is a new one on the watch list, and this is ticker symbol PLAN, Anaplan Inc. This one's triggered a very strong reversal to the downside. And for this one, essentially we just want to see it break the low of 55.84, and we can expect a pullback to the 10 EMA. So 10 EMA is around 54.24. That's what I would expect for that one. Oh, Teva. Teva is I believe, a long position, so we are not going to go over that one. We're going to just try and focus on our shorts this week. All right, so Hershey, I believe, is a pullback back to this 135.28 area. So basically, we just want to see it stay below this 10 EMA. We want to see some strong selling on the open, and that would be my situation there. Okay, so this one, KHC, is in a high volatility environment. So this one is about, I believe, to squeeze up, and we could be seeing the 20 or the 50 EMA or the 100 EMA, I'm sorry, 33.89 this week. Overstock. So this one is triggered a reversal on the daily, and basically we'd want to see this one break the 200 EMA for a fall back down to 1622. MAC. This one is a long, so we're not going to focus on that one this week. I'm going to just try and keep it simple and focus on our shorts because I do believe this is a short week. Okay, so Roku, we could see some fallback. What we want to see is a break of this resistance area of the 101.55. If we see that break in 101.55, look for a short back down to 97.30. T-Tech, this is a strong reversal, triggered on the daily and weekly. Again, we just want to see some strong selling pressure. I don't want to see it break this 83, let's say 87, 82.78. Break that 82.78 for a pullback to 81.31. We break that 81.31 area, maybe we see 80.26. World Play, this one is a strong reversal. I know I've been saying that for, I think this one was triggered probably 2 weeks ago, and we got a brief sell there, but it just continued to rally higher. World Play is a very strong stock. I'm looking for a pullback to 125.82 this week. Starbucks is a strong reversal on the daily. So we're basically looking for it to bounce off this long-term support channel here. You can see that is a major trend line. And we're looking for a pullback to the 10 EMA. So looking for around 86, 84, or about $3. Starbucks options are pretty expensive. They can be a little expensive to hold too, but if you get that $3 move, it'll more than pay for itself, especially if you play some at the monies with a 50-cent delta. PLNT, we're going to leave this one alone. Don't like it anymore. It's played out. AMC, so this one is bullish long term, but if the market decides to be weak this week, then I would not be focusing on it. State Street, again, I am bullish on State Street, so I am not going to go over that one. Alright, so CTL, this one looks like a good opportunity for some small plays. So we're looking for it to break that 1196 area, and I'd like to see it pull back to this trend line. But again, we're bullish on CTL long term. Baidu, again, bullish on this one. We've consolidated onto this trend line. I think we finally do get a rally, but again, we're not focusing on longs this week. I am just presenting my short opportunities. So DVA, this one presents a great opportunity for a pullback off this 200 EMA. I'd be looking for it to hit around this 10 EMA. around 55.55, so you get about $2 out of that one. EEFT triggered on the weekly, and we can see we've already gotten some sell signals here. We're looking for a pullback to support of 164.94, and that would be about where I'd hope for it to stall for a minute. If we can break that 164.94, then we're looking for 160.67. ILMN, this one, unless you're real risky, I would just recommend leaving this one alone. This was our pick of the week last week. Did very well. You can see we had a target of 350.86, and we're now down to 305.05. You might see some short-term rises out of this one. Just some of these people who got caught in here trying to get the most out of their money. So this one could be an easy play for some upside plays very quickly. Ultimately, though, I definitely want to be staying away from this one. The only reason I watch it is because I will be looking for some of those quick plays to the upside. You can see you get a few of these. Oh boy. So you get a few of these. 306, 308. That's a $2 move in about 5 minutes. A $2 move in about 5 minutes. If you're playing real close to the money, whatever you put $490 into it, $400, that's a quick $100 in 5 minutes. That's good money. I mean, if you've got the ability to day trade, would I waste a trade on this? Well, it just depends how much time you've got, if you can sit there and watch it. But for me, $100, 5 minutes, I'm not gonna really say no to that, especially if I can't find anything that I like in the market. These fast drops are always good for something quick and easy. So Halliburton. Halliburton, we can see we've had some strong consolidation, very controlled. This one is a bullish play though, so we're going to leave that one alone. I do not believe we want to be focusing on too many bullish plays this week. So ADS, we see we've got a nice little consolidation here, but nevertheless it has been triggered for a reversal. I wouldn't look for too much of a pullback on this one though. Ultimately, ADS is a bullish play. We might see it come back to the 145.22s for about $4. BLL, this one is triggered on a monthly reversal, so you know how that one works. Monthly reversals are a little slower to pull back. We see we've already gotten about a $2 pullback, and we want to see it stay below this 10 EMA. We can stay below this 10 EMA, then maybe break that 20 EMA around 69.03. That's when I'd be looking to go short on this one for a pullback to 67s. So that's good for about $2 if you wait for the signal. You definitely want to see it break that 20. See how when it breaks the 20, historically, it just works out. So just want to see it break that 20 or the yellow line. Again, 69.03 is where that is right now. That is going to change depending on what happens on Monday. Shack. This one is a pullback, very strong, triggered on the daily, weekly, and monthly. So I'd be looking for a pullback to this trend line here, which is around 72s. So that's good for about $3. And Shack options aren't too expensive. See, you can get into this one for under $1 for the 5 days, which is where I would be playing them because I expect this move to happen rather quickly. So again, looking for the pullback. Ultimately, I'd like to see this come back down to 68.85. Before I start looking for the 68.85 area though, I'd want to see a break of this. So if you're more conservative, wait for the break of the trend or around the 72s area, and the 72s can possibly bring you back down to the 68.85s. Procter Gamble. So if you watch your sectors at all, healthcare has not had an amazing time. Procter Gamble is part of the XLV watch list, I believe. We'll take a quick. I actually don't have it. That is because I do not play healthcares that much. Needless to say, it's part of the S&P 500's healthcare sector, so I would expect Procter Gamble to follow suit. This one I said was a short last week, and we got that short very briefly. And I would expect to pull back to this trend line. So we could look for, say, around the 112.50s area. But if the market decides to be short this week, which the XLV pullback would suggest, only because that pullback suggests that they are consolidating, finding support, Procter & Gamble could in fact go higher. So I'd be watching for some selling volume on this one. It has been triggered on a monthly reversal though. So you know how that one works out. Monthly reversals do take longer to work out. WIBO, we are long on WIBO, so we're not going to go over that one this week. APD. Let's see what my notes say. It looks like we're triggered for the weekly reversal. Enter short if strong selling begins and continues. So we were looking for 224 last week. Looks like we in fact did get that short. We want to see it stay below this range here. So if it breaks the 231.45, we definitely want to stay away from it. We'd really like it to stay below the high of this second red candle here, which is 228.34. Stay below the 228.34s, and we could be looking for a short down to 225.14, and then ultimately 221.28. Abbott Labs is a short. You can see that it finally got what we were looking for. This was last week's notes. Again, we're keeping last week's notes because a lot of these are finally set up for the short. So this one we had a price target of 80.15. I still think it gets there. We're looking for it to stay below this 84.32, and we'd like to see it stay below this 20 EMA too. That would be ideal. Looks like you could get about $2 out of this one if you held in there. MCY is triggered on the daily. See that we're consolidating on this 10 EMA, so we want to see it break that 10 EMA before we decide to do anything, and then look for a short back down to the 20 or 61.45. AEE. So this one looks like we're triggered on the monthly, so I'd be looking for a pullback to around the 74.70s area. So this one's good for about $1. AYX. So we can see that we have finally broken this trend line. Now we want to see it break the 10. We'd like to see it ultimately break this 110.90 for a short down to 104.46. Mosaic we are bullish on, so we're going to leave that one alone. TBT, could be looking for a pullback on this one. If bonds decide to rally, then this one might be a nice little pullback to the 29.37s. These are cheap money to get in, so this would be definitely something I'd play for a day and then get out. Wouldn't want to hold it because I think TBT is ultimately headed higher. INFO, we're looking for a pullback to 62.86, but before we decide to get long into this, we want to see a break of the 64.41s. Paycom Software. Paycom, we are short on this one. It has broken this trend line, okay, and ultimately we want to see this one come back down to 227.41. Before we decide to get into though, I'd like to see it break the 239.33s. You could be a little more aggressive if you're a day trader and look for the selling on the open, and you might actually get the 239.33 from where we're at now, which is about $4, but Paycom's a little expensive, so you want to hold in for the bigger moves on this one. So definitely wait for it to break that 239.33 and wait for the fallback. SPWR, looks like we got a little bit of the pullback this week. This is a symmetry play, so if it holds here, then I would expect the same rally that we got here. and that's just purely based on Fibonacci symmetry. Um, could be something where it just consolidates around there for a while and breaks down eventually again into this large volume. So let's definitely stay away from this one for now. We got the move last week. TLT. So this could be an instance where the market decides to get bearish, like I'm expecting this week, that TLT has now found a consolidation point and bonds are going to rally higher, which sort of suits the narrative of lower interest rates. Lower interest rates, as you know, pushes yields down and pushes bond prices or the face value of bonds higher. INGR, this one we are bullish on, so we are going to leave that one alone. JWN, we are bullish on, so we're going to leave that one alone. Twilo, we've already seen some strong selling into this candle, and we're holding a pretty strong price cluster right there, so we're going to leave Twilo alone. AMT, American Water Tower, American Tower Corporation. This one we're ultimately short on. I like to see 198.90. We see that we're broken below that 10 EMA. We are holding this trend line, so we want to see it break that trend, possibly break this 50 EMA around the 204s area. If it can break all that, then I'd be looking for 198.90 again. FIS, this is a pretty good candidate for a short position. We want to see it come back down to the 127, break that 127, and get to the 124.57 areas. McDonald's, this is a recent addition to our watch list. Triggered on the daily. McDonald's does not move a lot because this is I believe McDonald's is a value stock, so these guys do not move a lot. They don't move quickly, so this is definitely one of the ones that you'd be holding, and you kind of want to be right when you get this one. But when McDonald's decides to sell, value stocks generally like to sell off a pretty good move, 1-2% correction. Again, 1-2% on this one, you're looking at $2 to $4 for the sell. See, we've already gotten that a little bit. We want to see it break the 10 EMA. Break that 10 EMA, and we can come back down to this trend around 207. So, the 10 EMA where we at is around 211, 207. That's about $3. $3 on McDonald's is a pretty decent move. McDonald's options are a little expensive. They can be expensive to hold. So buy yourself some time. Get the cheaper theta. Ultimately, though, we're short on McDonald's. American Water Corporation. Looks like we're triggered on a weekly reversal and a monthly reversal. We wanted it to stay below resistance for the short to support. So we see we've consolidated here on this very critical area. If we open up lower, then I'd be looking for that short back down to 114.52. Breaks that 114.52, looking for that 112.04. So Wynn Resorts seems to be holding up pretty well right here. Got a strong sell, got a rally higher. Ultimately, though, I think Wynn is good for the fill down to this 124.30 area. So I'd be holding on, waiting for some confirmation. So long as we don't get higher than these wicks here, or the 132, 133, 135. Yeah, we don't want to get above a 135 areas, which I don't think it'll do. I think this one is ultimately coming back down, at least to the 127.16 areas. Autozone. So this one finally presented a good opportunity. This one, though, you'd want to have a little money behind you because these are very expensive to get into. The spreads are not great. But what makes this one so worth it is you can see that when AutoZone likes to sell, it gets some pretty decent moves out of it. Right there you're looking at around 70 points. Okay, 70 points on any of these deltas, or 70 points on a 50-cent delta. What is that? That's so. Oh, what the hell? So 750 points times 50 cents. So that's 375. You know, that's some pretty good money, man. I don't really, are you going to get 70 points? No. But the point is this thing decides to move. It moves in a very right way. I think AutoZone is ready for a sell. I'd be waiting. This one may not be coming in the beginning of the week, but this one is ready, pretty ready. We might want to see it get to the 1176.99 areas before we decide for a pullback to to this candle. So AT&T, we are ultimately bullish on communications, so I'm not going to go over communications. Any total system services, this one looks good for a weekly reversal. We can see that we're consolidating some selling. We broke the 10 EMA, got back above it. I think ultimately we're looking for a pullback to the 126.66 areas. HTV, should have erased that one. That one is a pullback, but I don't like it. Tesla. So this week, Tesla, I think after this consolidation and sell, I've got no recommendations on Tesla. We're going to leave Tesla alone. Exxon, bullish on oil, so we are leaving that one alone. All right, so Visa. Visa looks good for the pullback to the 10 EMA, so 176, 176.50s area. It's about $4. That's good play. Some good strong volume right there. I think Visa gets that if we don't gap lower on Monday. Berkshire B. So you can see that we got that pullback to the 213.17 area. It's consolidating right there. If the market does in fact decide to pull back, Berkshire will follow. It's just what it does. We might be looking for a 211.96 this week. UNG, we're bullish on gas, so we're going to leave that one alone. Intercontinental Exchange. So this one is going to be my pick of the week. I like this one. It looks certainly ready for the pullback, and I'd be looking for around the 87.41s this week. Shopify, we're going to leave this one alone. We're consolidating on this trend. We break that trend line, which is a pretty critical area. We can see it's old support for this downtrend, or old resistance for this downtrend, support for the uptrend. You break that, we could see 287 this week, but you want to keep an eye on this one. Shopify has a lot of attention, so it could turn around real quick, and it could be one of those stocks where the market is selling off and Shopify is just not moving. They're actually building a base, hoping that when the market rallies again, it'll rally it higher. So definitely want to watch that one. CarMax, we are looking for a short on CarMax. I wanted to see break this 87.76 area for a short down to 84.87. CME. So CME is a certain pullback. This is triggered on the monthly reversal. You can see that we got that strong reversal followed by a very strong rally up. I don't think this one goes higher. I think we're looking for 203.85 this week. Medtronic, again, be wary of any of the healthcares because healthcare, well, it could rally higher. But based on the chart, this one looks like I am long on, so we're going to leave that one alone. Lockheed Martin, we're looking for it to break that 10 EMA for a pullback to 361.79, so that's about $7. That's a great move. Coles, we are long on. Mongob, See, we have broken this resistance, so we're looking for 146.86 this week. ARNC, Arconic. So Arconic, we're looking for it to break that support of the 25.42, and we can see we've got a pretty strong price cluster right there, so I'd like to see 23.75 this week. PAGS, triggered weekly and reversal. So this one we're just looking for a pullback to the 10 EMA or around the 41.15s. That's about $2.40. It's a decent move. C Limited. So C Limited, we're looking for a break of the 34.06 for a pullback to 32.44. Target, ultimately, we are bullish on Target, so we're going to leave Target alone for now. Zscaler, so we broke that resistance and we got the short back down to the 72s. If this thing can break this trend line, I'd be looking for 76.64 this week. Viva Systems, so this one rallied higher. I'd be looking for the pullback. We're going to say 172.37. The high of this candle, actually 172.16, so we're looking for 172.16 this week. If it can break that 172.16, I'd be looking for 164.20. All right, so Oracle, this is a healthcare stock, still triggered on the daily reversal, so I'd be looking for ultimately the 10 EMA 58.96. So that's just about $1, not really worth it. Although $1 is not bad. I mean, it just depends who you are. But if it breaks that 10 EMA, then maybe be looking for this pretty strong support area down here or the 20 EMA. So right now it's 57.59. So I'd say break the 10 EMA, wait for that break for a short down to the yellow 57.59. Dollar General, this one I believe will be a pullback this week. Did not get that double top, kind of faked this out, consolidated onto the 10 EMA. We're looking for 139.08 this week. If you can break that 139.08, then I'd be looking for 137.11. Alright guys, that does it for my watch list this week. Remember, keep an eye on the market this week. If the major indices do decide to go lower, then all these short positions are going to be great opportunities. So keep an eye out. See that we kind of consolidated on some strong volume, so it might be good for a pop. If that pop happens, that's going to be our buying point for short options. I definitely would not focus on long positions this week. Again, my name is Dario with Optional Enterprises. I am not a financial advisor. These are just my own ideas. If you've been following the past few weeks, you've seen that my ideas can be profitable. All you got to do is find one that you like. You just got to find one trade that you like and watch it. That's the real trick in the market. Find something that you like, focus on it. That's how money is made. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my live updates on Instagram and my watch list overview that I will post this Saturday.